By the end of this video, you guys are gonna know exactly why you do not want to miss out on the return of Raiden Shogun on her 2.5 banner. Between her ability to buff up your teammates' elemental burst damage, restore their energy for their elemental burst in multiple ways, do big damage of her own, as well as how many free ways you have to build her to maximize her potential, even as a free-to-play player, this character basically built herself. Now, the greatest asset to Raiden Shogun is how flexible that she is. You can use her in a Hyper Electro carry team. You can use her as a generic battery for someone like Arataki Ito or Noelle. Any character that has a large elemental burst cost, you can throw her in there, but that's not the only thing. She also has many teams that capitalize on her ability to do electro damage off the field, because you have a lot of hydro applicators such as Kokomi or Xingqiu, and you can combine electro with hydro to make electro charged. And on top of that, you can utilize this in an electro charged team, or you can add another element, Pyro, with a character such as Hu Tao or another free-to-play friendly asset in Xingling, and you can apply both electro as well as hydro at the same time, and then use a pyro with the electro charge on them and get both vaporized as well as overloaded and absolutely maximize the damage potential of your pyro carry. Once you have Raiden on your account, you're gonna find a spot for her somewhere, guaranteed. She's just that versatile, and why everyone has sort of turned the cheek on them if they're a Raiden hater when she first launched. Now, the fun doesn't stop there. Her E, the Transcendence Baleful Omen, applies electro damage upon activation and also applies electro damage when your active character strikes an enemy. This allows you to apply electro off field for things such as superconduct or electro charged teams, and then on top of that, it also is going to buff up all of your characters' elemental burst damage based on how expensive their own burst is. This is very prominent for characters with very strong elemental bursts, such as Yae Miko, Raiden Shogun herself, Xingling, Xingqiu in a DPS build. Anyone who wants to buff up their burst damage, she's gonna be very strong with. And speaking of burst, does she have a good one? Secret Art Musou Shinsetsu is an incredible elemental burst here. This transforms her into her own damage carry for about 7 seconds, and then on top of that, it's going to restore energy to your party by a tremendous amount. We're looking at 20 if you have a low build to a little bit higher than that, just in those 7 seconds, which is a great thing for many characters in Genshin Impact. Now, as far as building Raiden Shogun herself, her build is going to revolve around one of her ascensions, the Enlightened one here. This is going to give you bonuses for energy recharge, so it's going to give you greater energy restoration from her elemental burst to help out the rest of your team. It's also going to give you electro damage bonus. So energy recharge is a huge stat in Raiden's build. So of course, we're gonna be using the Emblem of Severed Fate set here, 2-piece for energy recharge, as well as the 4-piece giving you elemental burst damage bonus for every amount of energy that you have. If you have up to 300% energy recharge, you're gonna get a full 75% bonus damage from Raiden Shogun. And the Emblem of Severed Fate set is very free-to-play friendly to farm because it shares its domain with the Shimenawa's Reminiscence set, which is also a fantastic set. It is very flexible as well, including it even is used sometimes strictly for the 2-piece for the 18% attack, where there's so many characters such as Hu Tao that want to have their hands on this set that's well rolled. You're going to get your hands on 2 very good sets. Now, as far as weapons go, you can get your hands on the Engulfing Lightning, which is by far her best weapon, especially with multiple refinement ranks, as it does have that energy recharge build just like you want to be building on Raiden anyway, because this weapon's going to give you attack percent. But if you are a free-to-play player, go out there, catch some fish, and get the catch. It's going to give you energy recharge, and it's going to give you elemental burst crit rate as well as elemental burst damage up, which is insanely great for this character. It is a fantastic and her second best weapon, all things said and done, because you can easily fish up enough fish to get this thing to refinement rank 5. If you're going to be pulling out Raiden Shogun, go ahead and get this weapon ahead of time, follow a guide out there, and do. Now, Raiden Shogun does do a lot of stuff at Constellation Zero, batteries your party and does a good amount of damage. But if you already have your hands on a Raiden Shogun and you're questioning if any of the constellations are worth it, the second one, C2, if you want your Raiden to do even greater damage, is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to give you 60% defense ignore while she is in her elemental burst state, which is tremendous for damage potential. Her Constellation 1 also will give her a little bit more flexibility in maximizing her damage, because this is going to allow you to gain max stacks to boost up her elemental burst as well, even easier than she did at Constellation Zero. While it's not a straight 1-to-1 damage potential bonus in certain team compositions, it will be in certain ones with lower energy requirements, with lower elemental burst costs on those characters. Another fantastic thing about Raiden Shogun as a free-to-play player is you don't need to max all your talents out. For instance, her E Transcendence Baleful Omen, you can leave this at level 9 because that is where the elemental damage bonus, her main support function in her E, maxes out. If you take it to 10, all you gain is a small amount of bonus damage, and if you're really stretched thin for resources, the only thing you really need to max out on your account for Raiden is her elemental burst. And while you do want to max out your elemental burst because that is where all of her damage comes from, you can leave her normal attack at level 1, especially if you're playing solo player, because she shouldn't be in her normal spear form on the field. That is where your main DPS goes, and then Raiden comes out for her elemental burst and does big damage there. So this is going to save you a good amount of Mora as well as farming up with resin to maximize your talents on Raiden Shogun. Don't miss this opportunity to pick her up on your account because you're going to find a use for her somewhere, and she's a lot of fun.